Because there's one thing in your life more valuable than money. Am I losing my best years by not retiring sooner? Why wait until you're 60 plus to travel, to live your life to the full, when you could start reclaiming your time now? Are you really ready to work for the next 10, 15 or even 20 years? What if retirement was actually closer than you think? Imagine waking up tomorrow and knowing that you could finally take control of your life, not as an employee, but as someone who's free to do whatever they love. Let me share 5 reasons why now might actually be the perfect time to retire, even if you think you're not quite ready. Now, if you're stuck in a job that drains you, or you've been asking yourself, when will I finally get the chance to enjoy life, this video is for you. Now, retirement isn't just about stopping work, it's about embracing life on your terms, spending more time with loved ones, traveling, or just waking up every day with the freedom to decide how to live. I get it, many of us feel like we need to work for decades longer than we really do, but what if you could retire now without having to compromise your dreams or your quality of life? Stick with me, folks, because there's one surprising factor that could change everything about your retirement. I'm also going to go through a live case study that highlights how one major life event caused one of our clients to completely rethink their entire retirement plan. So please stay tuned for that. But before we dive in, I want to offer you something that could make a big difference. We're offering a free financial review worth over £800. There's a link in the description below. It gives you a detailed breakdown of our review process and a chance to book a time that suits you. It's an opportunity to take the first step towards the financial freedom you deserve. Okay, let's dive into this. Because there's one thing in your life more valuable than money, status or success, and that is time. It's also the one resource we can never get back. Think about it. How much time do you really have left to see the world, to chase that passion you've been putting off, to make memories with the people you love? Most of us live like we've got forever. We say someday like it's a promise, like the clock's not ticking, but those some days definitely stack up until one day they run out. Now, you might be working hard, you're chasing a career, you're saving for retirement, you're building a future you hope will be worth it. But what about the present? How many sunsets have you missed while sitting in traffic? How many laughs did you skip because you were buried in emails? Time is the currency of life. So here's the real question. Why wait until you're 60 plus to travel, to live your life to the full, when you could start reclaiming your time now? Don't let life pass you by. What is it that they say? Life is what happens while you're busy making plans. Because the truth is, the only time we really have is now. Speaking of waiting, what about the uncertainty of the future? The future, of course, is always uncertain, and the only constant is change. And let's be real, it's always been that way. Whether it's a financial crisis, a new technology disrupting industries, or unexpected global events, there's always something to worry about. But history shows us that despite the challenges, people have always adapted and moved forward. Even with all the uncertainty in the world, retirement can be a stable and fulfilling choice if you plan properly. Retirement isn't about waiting for that perfect moment when everything suddenly falls into place. It's about being ready to embrace life no matter what the future holds. So here's something you might want to be asking yourself. Am I losing my best years by not retiring sooner? Delaying retirement could mean missing out on the years when you're in the best shape of your life, physically and mentally, because as we age, our energy and our health, of course, naturally declines. And whilst it's wonderful to work hard for your future, retirement at the right time means you've got to live those best years whilst you're still fit to enjoy them fully. Think about it, folks. When is the best time to travel, take up new hobbies, or just relax and enjoy life? Not when you're exhausted after decades of work, I can tell you. Don't waste those years. Retirement isn't just about leaving your job, it's about seizing the freedom to live fully when you're still at your best. So what if you're already in a better financial position than you think? Could you actually afford to retire now or sooner than you do think? I'm going to pause for a moment and discuss a real case study of one of our clients, Pete. Now, Pete's been a client of Reeves since he was 40 and had a clear goal of retiring at 62 to enjoy his hobbies and spend quality time with his wife and his 2 children. He had always been in excellent health and was focused on his financial goals for the future. Sounds like most of us, I would think. Along with planning for retirement, Pete was also concerned about protecting his wealth in case something unexpected happened. Now, at first, Pete was hesitant to set up any kind of protection plan. He saw it as an extra cost he didn't need given his good health. health. But after discussing the potential risks with one of our financial advisors, Pete and Jill decided to go ahead with a plan. Little did Pete know this decision would prove to be incredibly valuable. Now, in his early 50s, Pete had a serious accident at home resulting in severe back and neck injuries. Thanks to the income protection plan he put in place, Pete and Jill were able to receive just over £2,000 per month income, which would continue until Pete could return to work or reach age 67, when he would receive his full state pension. And this income allowed Pete and his family to maintain their lifestyle without the financial stress of private medical bills or lost earnings. They were actually able to keep their home, take some holidays within the UK, and Pete could focus fully on his recovery without the added burden of financial worries. Now, the decision that Pete made, although initially he was a wee bit reluctant, it ultimately provided him and his family with the financial security they really did need during an incredibly difficult time. It also highlighted the importance of planning for the unexpected, ensuring that even when life takes an unexpected turn, financial peace of mind is available. What I want to emphasize here is the importance of not just planning for the what ifs and what you want, but also making the most of your healthiest years. None of us have a crystal ball to predict how long we'll stay in good health, but most people do tend to have a solid 5 to 10 years of very active retirement, depending of course on when they choose to retire. If you have the option to retire sooner, now is the perfect time to reflect on how this decision might impact you, not just financially, but mentally as well. It's worth considering how much more fulfilling those years could be when you're still physically and mentally at your best. Now that we've seen how unexpected events can impact your financial plans, it's important to understand that with the right preparation, you might actually be in a stronger financial position than you think. In fact, you may already be closer to achieving your retirement goals than you realize. Now, a lot of people worry they'll never have enough money to retire comfortably. It's one of the most common concerns we hear, but here's the thing. Many of us tend to overestimate how much we actually need in retirement, and with the right plan and a clearer understanding of your financial picture and how much income you need during your retirement, you might be much closer than you think. Do you really need as much as you've been thinking about, or have you been chasing a number that was never really aligned with your lifestyle or your goals? We've covered this in several of our other videos where we walk through real life case studies showing that people often need less than they thought, and less as they move through retirement as we get older. It all comes down to good planning, smart decisions, and of course understanding the big picture, like your income needs, which I've just mentioned there, your spending habits, and the kind of retirement lifestyle you want and need. The truth is, when you take the time to understand your actual financial needs, not just a vague target, you might realize you could retire sooner than you expected and still enjoy a life that feels secure, fulfilling, comfortable, and very enjoyable. And speaking of finances, do you know how retirement spending actually works? It doesn't always look the way people expect. Many assume they'll need a flat, consistent amount of money every single year throughout retirement, but in reality that's rubbish. Retirement spending tends to follow a pattern, and understanding this pattern can make a massive difference in how you plan. In the early years of retirement, many people spend more. This is the so-called active phase. You finally have the time to travel, enjoy your hobbies, create new experiences, dine out more, and tick lots of things off your bucket list. It's exciting, and yes, it can be and probably is more expensive. But as you move into the middle years of your retirement, that spending often starts to slow down. You may travel less, you might settle into a routine, and your lifestyle naturally becomes a bit more relaxed. This phase often brings lower day-to-day expenses, which means your income needs may actually decrease. Then later in retirement, your spending can rise again, but usually for different reasons. You might have extra healthcare support costs, you might need long-term care, and these can be more significant expenses. However, this phase is often shorter or more gradual than many people fear, and there are strategies to prepare for it. Now, the key takeaway here, folks, is your financial needs aren't static, and they might not be as high overall as you've been imagining. When you factor in things like the state pension, your private pension income, or other benefits, a substantial portion of your core expenses may already be covered, leaving you with a much more manageable financial gap to plan for. And understanding this natural spending curve can take a lot of pressure off. It also helps you avoid overestimating what you'll need, and more importantly, helps reduce unnecessary stress about the future. So now that you've discovered 5 powerful reasons to consider early retirement, the next big question is, how do you actually actually fund it. You'll need a strategy that keeps your money working hard for you and for the long haul. And that brings us to a crucial decision. Should you rely on an annuity, a drawdown approach, or a wee mix of both? Well, in the next video, I'm going to break down the pros and cons of annuities versus drawdown so you can choose the option that fits your lifestyle, your goals, and your peace of mind. So click here and I'll see you there.